Hello friends, this is Rishabh and we are back with yet another video in the Pythonverse series. This is video number 25 and in this video we are going to talk about dependency management in Python. Cool, so let's get started. Well, any fairly complex project which is like written in Python would always be dependent on multiple third-party packages. Why is this the case? Because as I have already mentioned multiple times that we shouldn't repeat ourselves. Reusability is something which is kind of worshipped in programming because you don't want to repeat yourself. Why do you want to reinvent the wheel when there is something which is already working, right? So that is the reason we almost always use something which is written by somebody else. Now if we start reinventing the wheel, like there's a famous quote by somebody. It says that if you start reinventing the wheel, then you will have to create your own universe in the first place, right? I mean, something out of the context, but yeah, that is true. So you don't want to write your own packages. You just want to reuse something which has been written by somebody else. So any complex project will have things like requests, will have things like pandas, Django, NumPy, Django REST framework, etc., etc., etc. Depending upon the domain in which you're working, you might see different set of third-party packages which are required, but the only thing which is common between or amongst all these projects is that there are going to be certain projects which are third-party packages and they are needed for your project, right? Cool. Now let's think of a scenario. Let's say you have installed the dependencies on your local machine and you have developed some features, right? Now you want to hand over the project to another dev. So you have done everything on your machine, you have built some features, right? But now you want to hand it over to somebody else. Now the question is, how do you tell them what all packages do they need in order to run the project? So let's say you have installed 50 packages. Now how do you tell them that they also need those 50 packages if they want to run the project correctly? Like developing is a later on thing, like developing comes only when they have at least started the project on their local, right? So the possible answers are, the very first is that you don't care to tell them. You say that figure it out yourself, man. Many people do this in the corporate, but they are not doing good. Trust me. So you don't do this, right? Now you give away the names in the documentation. You write all the packages which are required in the documentation of the project, right? That's fair because now somebody can actually go and see that what all packages are required and then they can install, right? But in this case, you are not being a good Python dev because that's not very Pythonic, right? Third is the topic of discussion for this project. So that is what we are going to talk about. Well, there is a file in Python which is called as requirements.txt. And believe me that if your team spends some time in making a good requirements.txt file, then your life will be very easy. When you're working on the project, you will get to hear less complaints like, this is working on dev A's machine, but not working on dev B's machine, which you might have often heard, right? So be careful when you are building your requirements.txt and only change it when it is absolutely required, right? So there is a requirements.txt file in Python and the contents of that file, what exactly are the contents of that file? Names of the packages which are required. So now before going any further, I would actually like to show you that how does this work. Let me just copy all of these. Let me just do what I said, right? Let me create a new file. I can do many things to create a new file. I can use vi, but let me do a very simple thing. Requirements.txt. It's a simple text file, right? Command v. So I have written requests, that is a package in Python. I have written pandas, that is also a package in Python. Django, NumPy, Django REST framework, right? So these 5 packages. Now comes the next thing. Now let's say you have the requirements.txt file. What do you do next? How to use this file? So there is a command for that, which is called as pip install -r requirements.txt. You have already seen the use of pip install. Whenever we have to install any third-party packages, we simply do pip install, right? But if we have to install multiple packages at the same time, then we need to have this requirements.txt file and we need to issue the command pip install -r requirements.txt, right? Then we hit enter. Now this will install all the requirements. By the time we are waiting for all the requirements to get installed, I request you to subscribe. But yeah, I think the internet was so fast. I should have slowed down my internet connection before pitching all of you to subscribe to the channel, which is something which helps a lot, right? Anyways, coming to the next part. So now as we can see that all these packages are installed. If I do Python, I can actually see by importing these packages. Let's say I can do import Django. I'm able to do that. And similarly I can say import NumPy. I'm able to do that. And similarly I can say import requests. Yeah, I'm able to do that. So let me just exit. Cool, that is awesome. So now for any project in future, if you want to convey that what all needs to be installed before anybody can run a certain project, you should be giving them the requirements in a requirements.txt file along with the source code of the file, right? And that will really help them. Just by writing a single command, they'll be able to install all the packages on their local machine, right? And yeah, we have seen how to use this file with a single command. Next is how to create this file. Now let's say what you did was you randomly installed the packages when you were developing something. Like some idea came to your mind, you searched Google that okay, these are the packages which can help me, and then you installed those packages, and now you have forgotten that what all were the packages which you installed in the first place. So there's a solution for that. You can always use pip freeze to see what all was installed. Let me just go ahead and execute this command. So as you can see, all these packages have been installed by me, right? I mean, some of these I just installed, but some of them were installed previously. Now what I want to do is now I want to add all of these into the requirements.txt file. So let me first remove my requirements.txt file. It's been deleted. Let me just, yeah, cool. Now let's do one thing. Let's just go ahead and say pip freeze and send all these contents to requirements.txt. Hit enter, and now as we can see the requirements.txt has been created. The best part is that not only the package names are there, we do have the versions also, which means that there is never going to be a version conflict between you and your fellow developer, because you are also sharing that what all versions are required in order to run this project, right? So in this way, requirements.txt file really helps with the management of the dependencies, like the third-party dependencies or the third-party packages which your project is using, and this is going to help you a lot. So with this, I think we have reached the conclusion of this video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new in this video. If that is the case, I request that you subscribe to the channel and you share it with anybody in need. So thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye and take care.